In this video today, we're going to talk about the Fusion interface. So let's get started here. The first area we're going to talk about is this area right up here. This is called the application bar. Inside the application bar, we can have our little menu. We can create new designs. We can upload projects. We can save our designs. We can export our designs. We can print, 3D print, share files, and view everything in here. We can also undo and redo the last command that we're using. Also inside the application bar, we will find the data panel. Next, we'll find our data panel over here on the left side. And inside our data panel, we can create new projects. Inside those new projects, we can actually create new folders. Inside those folders, we can add additional folders, or we can add different projects that we see here. Our drawings, our animations, our components, and our parts. Next, we'll do our design files. Our design files are our parts, our drawings, and they'll all be located up in here in the top. We can switch between them. And these are our design files. Next, we're going to go to our user profile and our help section. In here, we can find help by just hitting this little question mark. We can actually go over to our icon and we can do our preferences. We can get more information about our own individual account. You can go to the notification center, which is that little bell. You can find your status on whether you're working online or offline. Next, we're going to talk about our toolbars. In our toolbars, we have a bunch of different menus and tabs that we can select. So we can go up on the top here and we can select between solid, our surface. You can see that our tools are changing, our mesh, our sheet metal, plastic, manage our utilities. Underneath each one of those, we have pull downs, and here are more tools. We can actually put our tools up in our toolbar, and we can customize that toolbar. Next, we're going to switch over to our browser. Inside our browser, we can find our file structures. Inside the file structures, we can actually turn different icons off. We can turn the visibility of our sketches on and off. We can see all our sketches. We can turn our planes, our origins on and off. And later on, this will grow when we start adding joints and animations. You'll see this actually expand and grow. We can actually change our document settings. So in here, right now I'm setting units. We can actually switch our units. But we're going to set that up in our preferences later on, so we will not have to touch that. Next, we're going to swing over to our view cube. And with our view cube, we can actually take our view cube and we can rotate this thing around. And as we're rotating, we are rotating our part. We can actually click on edges and it will rotate those edges. We can click on faces and rotate those faces. We can actually spin by using these little arrows up in the top corner. And the last, we can hit our little house up here and that will put us into our home view. Next, we're going to drop down and we are going to go to our navigation bar. These are some more navigation tools that we can use. And the one I like using most is Free Orbit. And I can come in here and I can just spin this around. And this just gives me a little bit more command over what I want to do. The other thing that I can find down in here is I can come down here and I have different settings. Let me exit out of that. I have different settings that I can set up on how my visual style is going to be shaded with edges. We're going to actually talk about this a little bit later about turning the grid on and off. You'll notice that I do not have a grid right now. We're going to talk about that in our next little video. And we have different styles that we can turn on and off. Okay? And object visibility, all our work planes, everything like that, we can turn all those on and off. Next, we're going to go drop down a little bit farther and we're going to talk about our timeline. Now you can see that I do have a timeline down here. So as you're building your part, your timeline is going to start expanding. You can see right here, that first thing I started off with is sketch. The next little thing I started off with an extrusion. Then I went to another sketch and another extrusion. This is going to give you all the commands that you've used to create your part. You can actually move this timeline back and forth and it will start taking things out. As you see, hey, this is where I just had my first two sketches, my first extrusion. There's my next extrusion. There's an extrusion after that. And the last one is right there. So you can go down here and edit. You can move these around on how you want these to be set up. The last little area that we have to talk about, of course, is our largest area, and that is this area right here. This is actually called your canvas, or I will refer to it as my work area. One of the nice things about this is we can actually come in this area, you can right click, and you're going to get another menu. This is going to allow you to zoom, pan. These are some of your more tools that we've already discussed in here. Other commands, as you're in a command, other commands will pop up. So those are my 10 basic areas of the user interface.